What's up guys, Shawnthebro here, and we're back for another episode of the fighting game tutorial series. In today's episode we are going to continue going over Rollback Netcode. This is part 7 of Rollback Netcode. In this episode today we are going to continue going over our Rollback Netcode input system. So within the fighter we already have an input system, and we touched on this in the previous episode of Rollback Netcode. The input system is what tracks all of our inputs, so you can see the input stack on the left hand side of the screen here. It's tracking all my inputs, it's letting the character know when to perform certain commands like a fireball and our different types of movement. Rollback Netcode doesn't really care about everything that our standard input system cares about. It cares about being able to recreate or replay what happened in a deterministic way, meaning with the same conditions, same setup, we will get the same result every single time. That's what Rollback relies on. In the previous episode of Rollback, we created an input system that Rollback will care about by using the already captured inputs in our game and storing the important details about those inputs for our Rollback Netcode. Now we need to track those player controllers and be able to track those inputs by player or by player controller so that the rollback simulation subsystem can correlate those inputs to the characters that press them, or to the players that press them really, and have the characters behave the same way. Today's episode is going to be just that. It's going to be setting up the tracking of our player controllers. That way we can map our inputs to the player controllers that press them. That way when we roll back, we know what characters performed what actions, and thus we will be able to put them in the same state they were at during those frames. Now, before we hop into this episode, if you want to get caught up in the entire series and see how we've done things like our input stack, our different commands, our timer, our practice mode, and a whole lot more, I'll link you to the entire fighting game tutorial series right here in the top right corner so you can check all that out and get familiar with everything that we do in the fighting game. Alternatively, if you're only interested in Rollback Netcode, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to follow along with the entire series to watch these Rollback Netcode episodes. I do recommend that you watch at least the other episodes of Rollback Netcode in this series, as it's a huge system, and all the work we've done on Rollback Netcode so far is going to be useful for today's episode. I'll link you to the first episode of Rollback Netcode in our series right here in the top right corner. With that said, we're ready to go ahead and get started. Now this is a code and blueprint tutorial series, but since we're working on Rollback Netcode, the entire thing is going to be in code today. If we go to our C++, and specifically if we go to our base player controller CPP and base player controller .h. Just to quickly recap what we did in the previous episode, we made this structure called fuser_input. And this structure is important because it has all the data about all the possible inputs that could be pressed on a given frame. This data is set in all of the base player controller functions, where we've bound the inputs to call functions so that we can set our values correctly. And when we set these values, the intention is to get those to the rollback simulation subsystem. So we can go to the rollback simulation subsystem.cpp and rollback simulation subsystem.h. In our structure called fRollbackFrameData, we are storing all the user inputs, which is going to be one user input per player controller. The user input is that structure that we just went over that tracks all the inputs pressed by the player controller. The thing that we're missing that I mentioned earlier in this episode is mapping these player controllers to the inputs on the rollback simulation subsystem. Because right now it's just a T array. So we can go into our rollback simulation subsystem and try to process some inputs, but we don't know what player pressed them, and that means we can't actually associate the correct character with the correct state. To do this, we can go into where our player controllers are created or loaded and call out to the rollback simulation subsystem to tell that subsystem to start tracking these player controllers. Let's go into our rollback simulation subsystem.h. Let's scroll down in here and make a new function in the class. We want this one to be public because we're going to be calling it from the game mode or the player controller. We do have two options. I'll go over that in a minute. We need the public functions to be tracking the player controllers and stop tracking the player controllers. Instead of going out and retrieving the player controllers every frame, we can track several player controllers, and when we're tracking those player controllers, we can correlate them with the inputs that that player controller pressed, which will allow us to grab the correct user input and pull the data from there so that we can assign it back to the corresponding character. Again, let's go to our functions and let's make a new one. Start tracking a player controller and corresponding data. This is going to be void track player controller, and this is going to take in a parameter that is of our player controller type, which is a base player controller pointer, and we'll call it player controller. We don't have access to our player controller type because in the previous episode when we needed the fuser input from the player controller class, we did a forward declaration on the structure. That's perfectly fine. We can do a forward declaration on the class as well. So class a base player controller, and we'll get access to that type. It also stops us from needing to include the entire base player controller class, but feel free to include it if you prefer it. That would be include base player controller.h up here in this section. The next thing that we need to do is also stop tracking a player controller when that player controller is no longer valid. So for whatever reason we lose a player controller. The player controller gets cleaned up, gets destroyed. The player that was managing or owning that player controller leaves the match. We want to make sure that we're not tracking their input anymore. So stop tracking a player controller and corresponding data. Void stop tracking player controller. And we can also pass in a base player controller pointer player controller. These are the functions that we'll need for now. And if we go into the rollback simulation subsystem.cpp and go to where these functions would be, rollback simulation subsystem.cpp, and above tick here, void u rollback simulation subsystem, : track player controller, a base player controller pointer, player controller. Then below that we have void u rollback simulation subsystem : stop tracking player controller, a base player controller pointer, player controller. The next thing that I would do is fill these functions out. And what we want to do is take the player controller that was passed into this function when it's called and begin tracking it. That means we need a container in the rollback simulation subsystem to store these player controllers. Going back to rollback simulation subsystem.h, we can go into the private section again, and we can go below our circular buffer here, the tracked player controllers and corresponding data. T array of a base player controller pointer, tracked player controllers, and rollback simulation subsystem.cpp and tracked player controller, we're going to say tracked player controllers dot add, and we can add player controller. And then with stop tracking player controllers, we can say tracked player controllers dot remove player controller. If we have a player controller that gets tracked, we add it to this array, and if it gets removed, we remove it from the array. Additionally, we likely should check that player controller is valid if player controller, and really if not, exclamation mark, player controller return. Just don't do anything. It's an invalid player controller. But if we do run into this case, we probably want to log it because this is a pretty big issue. We're telling the game that we want to start tracking this player controller, but we give it an invalid player controller. So something probably went wrong. Let's make a UE log and send the log to log temp. That's our generic output log. Make the type error, so prints red. And the text macro is going to say u rollback simulation subsystem : track player controller. You don't have to do this, but this is a way you can easily look at the log and determine where this is coming from, just in case you have some logs with a very similar text or very similar issues. And for the actual message, I will say player controller is invalid and cannot be tracked. Now I will copy this whole section here and I will paste it in stop tracking player controller as well. Make sure you put your semicolons at the end of these UE logs. And I will change the function name in the log to stop tracking player controller, but the log will say player controller is invalid and cannot be tracked is actually fine because it's true, it's invalid, it can't be tracked, so we can't remove it from tracking either. Perfect. We have our functions to track our player controllers. The next thing to do is figure out where we want to call these functions. I mentioned a little bit earlier that the player controller or the game mode could be used to track these player controllers for the rollback simulation subsystem. The reason I mentioned both these cases is because base player controller has the ability to override the player controller functions, and player controller has access to begin play, that's right here, and end play. And when we begin play on the player controller, we could get the rollback simulation subsystem and call that start tracking player controller function. When we end play, which we could override in player controller, we could call stop tracking player controller. However, Unreal does have a method of tracking new player controllers when a player logs in and when a player logs out. This works with networking. I don't need the base player controller anymore for today's episode, but we do need the game mode now, which is the fighter template game mode.cpp and fighter template game mode.h. In the fighter template game mode.h, we can go down to where we override our functions, such as tick, and that's perfectly fine. We'll go to the same area here, and we will override virtual void post login a player controller pointer player controller override and virtual void logout a controller pointer controller override. When a player logs in or when a player logs out, we now track this with the corresponding controller. Now, logout uses a controller and post login uses a player controller. We need to adhere to these types because we're overriding the functions, so we can't change the parameters, but that's perfectly fine. We can just cast these to our types. A player controller has been assigned to a character that logged in. And logged in this case really just means like logging into the server, like connecting, such as connecting to the game in a network session, but it works in a local session too when the instance is started up and the player controller is created. Log out is when a player controller, really just a controller, has been removed due to a character that logged out. This is a similar idea, so when the character disconnects the server or leaves a game, log out, which means we remove that controller from functioning. And in local sessions, when the game ends or if that local player gets destroyed, that controller also becomes invalid. So we have post login and log out on our fighter template game mode. Let's go to fighter template game mode.cpp. Scroll down to where I want to make this function. I will make it above tick. Void a fighter template game mode post login a player controller pointer player controller, and below this void a fighter template game mode log out a controller pointer controller. In both of these functions, we want to make sure we call super because we want to do all the logic that the game mode class, or the parent of a fighter template game mode, is doing. So super : post login, and we need to make sure that we pass in the same controller, so player controller. For log out, we want to call super : log out and pass in controller. The next thing that we need to do in both of these functions is get the rollback simulation subsystem so that we can call a function on it. If u rollback simulation subsystem pointer, and we'll just call this rollback simulation subsystem, equals get world, parentheses, this is getting the current world or the current level that we're in, get subsystem. And get subsystem is a type or a templated function, so we need to pass in the type, and the type is going to be u rollback simulation subsystem. So get the subsystem of this type. To do this, however, we need to have access to the rollback simulation subsystem. Since we're in fighter template game mode.cpp, we can just include it. We don't have to worry about circular dependencies. Include rollback simulation subsystem.h. Then we go back down to our function here, and you can see that this is working. Let's put our curly braces here. If we go into this if statement, that means we were successfully able to get this rollback simulation subsystem. Note that if you have a different type of subsystem, such as a game instance subsystem, you need to get the game instance here, not the world, but we specifically set up our rollback simulation subsystem to be a world subsystem. At this point, we can call the function that we want to start tracking the player controller. So rollback simulation subsystem, arrow, track player controller. It's a public function, so we can do this now. And we need to pass in the player controller. However, we can't really do this because the player controller won't automatically cast to the base player controller. And that means we need to cast it. We are checking to see if the player controller is valid in the rollback simulation subsystem functions here. Remember, we added these null checks in here. And that means we don't have to check it for validity when calling this function in the game mode. If you want, you can simply cast a base player controller and put player controller in parentheses here. This should be perfectly safe. Alternatively, you can grab this entire line and put it in an if statement above where we're getting the rollback simulation subsystem. So if a base player controller pointer base player controller equals, and if this is not valid, like we go into an else statement here, we won't do anything. We won't call our track player controller. If you have a preference, then feel free to set it up as such, but this method right here will work perfectly fine. We want to do basically the same thing for logout. We can copy this entire if statement and function call and go below super logout and paste it here. The difference here is we're not calling track player controller, but rather stop tracking player controller. And we're not casting player controller, but rather just controller. Now, post login and logout successfully talk to the rollback simulation subsystem and add it as a player controller that we want to begin tracking. And at that point, our rollback simulation subsystem has these player controllers in its tracked player controllers array. So the next thing to do would be to make sure that we can map these tracked player controllers with their corresponding user inputs. In the next episode of Rollback Netcode, we'll be going over storing that F user input from the corresponding player controller in our F rollback frame data. That way we can finally know which player controller is responsible for which inputs on which frames in our rollback system. If you guys enjoyed this episode on Rollback Netcode, if you did and you want to support the channel, please subscribe and consider joining the YouTube membership, Patreon, and Discord subscriptions to give support to the channel and to let me know that you're interested in this type of content. It really helps me out a lot, so I appreciate it. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who already has. You guys are fantastic and I appreciate you so much. Thank you. If you ran into any problems with this tutorial or any of my tutorials, feel free to join the Discord community. There is a link in the description. I would be happy to help you out and get that sorted so you can keep working on your project. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Shawnthebro and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.